Hi, my name is Rizel, or Rizel, whichever you prefer, it don't matter. I wanted to put together a little PvP guide that kind of goes a little in depth about certain mechanics of the game, just so people can kind of get a base understanding of the just fundamentals of the game, what does what causes what, and how to really ensure that you're getting the most out of your attacks and winning the game. So with this video here, what I'm going to be doing is showing a couple clips that just kind of go in depth about how the best way to dodge is, what causes what would be known as a tumble effect, the recovery button, HP lockouts, dominant forms. I want to cover all of the basics of PvP. So with this video, I hope it helps some people out, maybe get a little better, see your rank go up, get out of freaking Son of Devil because there's too many people down there. And hopefully this video will help you get out and get the Ruler of Hell, and get those shiny old silver coins because they need to increase the rewards. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. And I want to start off by going into dashing, dodging, and getting a little in depth about that and why mashing is bad. And just timing your dodges, you'll start to dodge a lot more things than you thought you could before. So to start off, I want to talk about dashing. Dashing is a very powerful evasion mechanic in the game because it offers invincibility on each dash, and there is no cooldown for that invincibility. The only place you would really find that is going to be things like Trial of Adversity, but we're not talking about that. So on each dash, you get iframes for about the first half of the dash, and then towards the end of it is when those iframes stop. So that's typically when you want to hit your attacks. A better way to really evade certain things is going to be through dashing and jumping, because jumping, little did we know, has hidden iframes. You can still technically be hit on your jump, but the immediate startup of the jump has some hidden iframes that dodge a lot of things. It's a very helpful way to get out of Swift Arsenal's stupid full map, fucking single shot knock up, and pretty much anything. As long as you time it correctly, dash jump will be your best friend. Now, during that dash jump, the best thing to do is going to be ensuring that your character does a front flip, because you want to try to keep your momentum and movement going just to ensure versatility, mix-ups. You want to keep your movement going smoothly. And if you dash and do a standing jump, you're killing all of your momentum. You're not going to go anywhere. So your best thing to do is to constantly be ensuring that you are hitting your front flips, because that's what's going to get the most out of the movement itself, as well as ensure that you're dodging properly, because it's always going to be the first half of the jump, like frames, that allow you that hidden invincibility that just somehow gets by things. It's not actually explained. I don't know why it's there, but it's there, and we use it. So overall, dash jump is going to be your big brother. He will protect you from the stupid single map knockup from that stupid fucking character. Fuck that stupid bitch. Fuck Swift Arsenal. I will kill. Anyways, moving along. Let's go into tumble effect. So the tumble effect can happen multiple different ways. It can happen off of things that are considered tumble hits, being like the final hit of, say, Endless Judgment's aerial rave, where he smacks the sword down. That would technically send you into a tumble effect. He has his own exclusive to where he can technically use his twice over due to the servers just being awful, but technically he's not supposed to do that. If you hit that move, it's supposed to send you into tumble, but there are some instances where it just doesn't, and you have the opportunity to do it again. But he's the only one that can do that, and that's not what we're talking about. Anyways, so the tumble effect is not something you want to happen during your combo. You really want to get the whole red HP bar down in one combo, in whatever way that may mean. As long as you're stringing your combos together properly, you'll have a good chance at getting, the most out of your attacks and ensuring that you break the entire red HP bar rather than dropping it. The recovery button is a really powerful thing because it gets you out of any combo, attack, whatever. You can use it to dodge if you so please. If you, for whatever reason, know you can't dodge an attack, then it would not hurt to just use your recovery to get out of a really important attack that would put you in a bad position. But overall, as far as timing goes, the invincibility timing on the recovery is going to be about 3 seconds. I say 4 for safety because I like to give myself that 4 seconds to just back off. But the true time on the invincibility for tumble state and recovery invincibility is going to be about 3.5 seconds. And then the cooldown for recovery timer is going to be a total of 24 seconds. So something to, keep note of is that time that you saw them recover. You don't exactly have to count it in your head, but if you are able to do that, it's definitely healthy to keep track of when their recovery is up, because that recovery can really turn around the game in the simplest of ways. Because if you attack fast enough, you can instant recover and then hit attacks right after recovering. You don't have to go the full duration of the flip unless you really want to. It's not a terrible thing to let the whole flip happen because you are relatively invincible for the entire fall. Sometimes it's better to recover and instantly start getting an attack going. But overall, recovery button is, something you want to try to get your opponent to use rather than hold on to. Because if they're holding on to it, then there's going to be instances where they may get you to blow yours, and now you're in a bad position. So overall, you want to make sure you're trying to blow your opponent's recovery. Now, as far as it being locked, because there are instances where your recovery can be locked out by certain characters. The only people that can do this are going to be Spark Igniter through her red arena skill, Nomadic Lightning through his red arena skill as well, and Devil Crusher with the blue arena skill. And these all are going to apply, except for Spark Igniter, but Nomadic Lightning and Devil Crusher are going to apply to his style skill. Once they throw Round Trip or use Sword Rain, then it will lock your recovery and you won't be able to use it for a certain amount of time. And Spark Igniter's QTE is something that also locks out your recovery for a short amount of time. So sometimes it's good to maybe lock out your opponent's recovery in the last second to ensure that they have no chance of recovering at, towards the final bar of the match. And it guarantees you your combo to hit completely, and then you win. But overall, it's best to make sure you're trying to get that red HP bar down in one go. But at the same time, it really never hurts to drop a combo on purpose if you know their recovery is going to be up, because you want to reset the neutral game to then make them blow recovery again and get even more HP out of, your attacks. So now I want to talk about dominant state. And there's two forms of this. There's true dominance and then there's standard dominance. So standard dominance can come from, transformations through Devil Trigger or Nero's Exceed, and they offer a standard dominant state for a fair period of time. It's, based off of a transformation that will consume their MP. So whenever their MP runs out, that's when that dominant state is going to run out, or unless they deactivate it. And so what the dominant state does, it allows heavy knockdown resistance. You can't be knocked down by such basic attacks that would typically stagger you. But it can be broken by ultimate attacks of any kind. Everybody's ultimate that can do damage will break your dominant state. There's no blocking that unless you're Royal Guard. There are dominant state breakers through certain arena traits, such as Royal Guard. He has an arena trait that allows him to break dominant states through Royal Release, and then Count Thunder has one where he can Rapid Slash, but it costs extra MP, but it can break your dominant state. But it also is kind of a double-edged sword because that makes his Rapid Slash slower. and the recovery time to then do it again, it takes a second. But overall, there are ways to break it. It's not, completely invincible. There are other instances where you can get a dominant state without the use of the transformation, and that would specifically be through Spark Igniter's rockets. That gives her a dominant state, and then Endless Judgment doing perfect judgment cuts, that gives him a dominant state as well. Standard judgment cuts don't do that, and you can tell that it's not a perfect judgment cut because he won't get the typical orange flash that pops up during a dominant state, and you won't see the word dominant pop up over his head during just standard cuts, and that applies to both grounded and aerial judgment cuts. They will not give you a dominant state. Now, as far as true dominance goes, that typically comes from QTE usage. That's typically not ever supposed to be broken. True dominance in general can't be broken by any means. The only time it ever seems to break is based off of server issues where your QTE visually comes out but seems to just get broken by your opponent doing their QTE as well. Or in some weird instances, Nomadic Lightning Round Trip has this really weird habit of suddenly breaking a QTE and it won't actually go off. It's not supposed to do that. It's not explicitly stated that it has that ability, but it do what it wants sometimes. We can't control it. But overall, the only few people that seem to truly prove what true dominance does would be Nomadic Lightning during his grounded QTE. If you charge that up, you can't be broken. You can still take damage during a dominant state, but he can't be royally released back into the lobby or ulted because the ult will just do its damage. He won't move. And then Count Thunder's QTE also has the same effect where he will not move. Again, certain times it will randomly break on account of the game just being weird, but things that are officially supposed to break it would be everything that has been mentioned here. Now, as far as dominant state being broken as well, outside of that, if you are left in a knocked up state, you will still consume MP. You will still technically be counted as mid-transformation. So your MP is going to still drain if you get knocked up, such as if you get knocked up while in Nomadic Lightning's double trigger, you will still consume MP while being knocked up. And then you'll just de-transform mid-air, and then you'll just have no MP. So overall, that's dominant states. They have their benefits, but they also have their drawbacks because they are breakable, and it's best that you don't have your dominant state broken because now you're sacrificing both your health and your MP. So overall, that would be my general PvP guide on the base mechanics. There may be some other videos they'll end up making to go over like the base fundamentals of what you typically want to do while in certain situations. I may just even put together some gameplay videos and just kind of commentate over what I do and why and how I get around certain things and certain best practices when it comes to PvP. But overall, I hope this guide really helps out a lot to just understand the mode in general. And hopefully we see some updates because this mode fucking sucks. But I still wanted to make this guide to just help out any newcomers and anybody that's really trying to get into PvP and understand it a little more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Get off my channel.